His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa held a telephone call with the President-elect of the United States, Donald Trump, to congratulate him on earning the confidence of the American people in the presidential election. His Majesty the King extended best wishes for success in his duties. During the call, His Majesty the King emphasized the importance of further strengthening the historic ties and strategic partnership between Bahrain and the U.S. His Majesty also highlighted the need to enhance cooperation, coordination, and constructive joint efforts in all areas that serve the mutual interest of both nations and their people. His Majesty expressed his best wishes for the American people to achieve further progress, prosperity, and development under the leadership of President Trump. The discussion also covered developments in the Middle East and efforts to restore stability and promote peace in the region. For his part, Trump expressed thanks and appreciation to His Majesty the King for the congratulations and kind sentiments. He expressed interest in working closely with His Majesty the King to deepen the long-standing friendship and strengthen the distinguished partnership between the two nations for mutual benefit. The Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa chaired the weekly cabinet meeting at Qutaybiyah Palace. The cabinet affirmed the importance of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's visit to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and His Majesty's meeting with King Charles III. The cabinet highlighted the long-standing Bahrain-UK relations built on a strong foundation of partnerships that have spanned over 200 years. The cabinet noted that this enduring partnership was reflected by the reception of His Majesty the King that received in the UK. The cabinet also congratulated His Majesty the King on receiving the Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, the highest award of the Royal Victorian Order. In light of His Majesty the King's address at the dinner banquet hosted by King Charles III, the cabinet emphasized the strongly rooted Bahrain-UK partnership underpinned by shared values. The cabinet also highlighted King Charles III's tribute to His Majesty's achievements over the past 25 years, particularly his visionary leadership since the beginning of his reign, which brought forth the National Action Charter. This charter received widespread support and led to the pardon and rehabilitation of thousands of Bahraini citizens. King Charles III's tribute also emphasized His Majesty's exemplary leadership, genuine care for all Bahraini citizens, regardless of their faiths, and his commitment to making national unity the cornerstone of all his efforts and initiatives. The cabinet extended its congratulations to His Majesty and to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Deputy Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Prime Minister bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa on the success of the 7th edition of the Bahrain International Air Show 2024, following its launch 14 years ago. The cabinet noted that the air show's accomplishments are part of the kingdom's achievements within the 25-year reign of His Majesty the King. The cabinet commended the efforts of His Majesty the King's personal representative and chairman of the Higher Organizing Committee, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Khalifa, in elevating the airshow's prestige and competitiveness in the region. The cabinet congratulated His Majesty and His Royal Highness on the success of the 6th edition of the Bahrain International Trophy, acknowledging the robust international participation which reflects Bahrain's strong organizational capabilities. The cabinet praised the organizational efforts of the Rashid Equestrian and Horse Racing Club, led by the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Isa bin Salman Educational Charitable Trust, chairman of the Board of Directors of Tamkeen, and chairman of the REHC High Committee, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. The cabinet emphasized the importance of Bahrain's address at the extraordinary Arab-Islamic Summit, which was delivered on behalf of His Majesty by Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah, reiterating Bahrain's commitment to achieving a just and lasting peace in the Middle East. The address also highlighted the kingdom's dedication to resolving the Palestinian conflict, recognizing it as essential to securing the right of all people in the region to live in peace and harmony. The address also commended Saudi Arabia's efforts under the leadership of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, and the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, in ensuring the success of the summit. The cabinet congratulated the leadership, government, and people of Oman on their National Day, recognizing Oman's development across various sectors under the leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. The Cabinet then discussed several memorandums during the meeting, approving the following. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Financial and Economic Affairs and Fiscal Balance regarding financing the Sheikh Jaber Al Ahmed Al Sabah Highway Development Project. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding a draft resolution to add a new member to the Supreme Committee for Disabled Affairs. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on 5 memoranda of understanding and an executive cooperation program between Bahrain and the UAE. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on an MOU and 2 executive programs between Bahrain and Oman. A memorandum submitted by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning regarding the acquisition of several properties for public benefit and urban development. A memorandum submitted by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning regarding the launch of new urban planning services through the planning portal. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on the government's response to a proposal submitted by the Representatives Council. The Cabinet then reviewed memorandums submitted by the Minister of Foreign Affairs on the topics for the upcoming 162nd GCC Ministerial Council session in preparation of the 45th session of the Supreme Council. In addition, the Cabinet noted the following ministerial reports. The outcomes of Bahrain's participation in the extraordinary Joint Arab-Islamic Summit, the outcomes of the 8th session of the Bahrain-Oman Joint Ministerial Committee, the outcomes of the Bahrain's participation in the Serbaniyas Forum, Bahrain's participation in the Global High-Level Ministerial Conference on Antimicrobial Resistance, the outcomes of Bahrain's participation in the Ministerial Committee meeting accompanying the extraordinary Joint Arab-Islamic Summit, the outcomes of Bahrain's participation in the 12th session of the World Urban Forum in cooperation with the United Nations Human Settlements Programme, Bahrain's participation in Cityscape Global 2024 in Saudi Arabia, the outcomes of Bahrain's participation in the World Travel Market, Bahrain's participation in the 122nd session of the United Nations World Tourism Organization Executive Council in Colombia, and the outcomes of Bahrain's participation in the 40th Ministerial Session of the Standing Committee for Economic and Commercial Cooperation of the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation. The Minister of Tourism, Fatma Sayrafi, opened the 9th UN Tourism World Forum on Gastronomy Tourism in Bahrain, marking its first occurrence in the Middle East. The event was attended by the Minister of Information, Dr. Ramzan Al-Naimi, the Secretary General of the UN Tourism Organization, Sarah Polo Lekshbili, and the Director General of the Basque Culinary Center, Jose Mare. In her opening speech, Sayrafi highlighted Bahrain's role in hosting this historic gathering, emphasizing that gastronomy tourism serves as a cultural bridge, celebrating diversity and empowering communities. She underscored the importance of this industry in fostering a sustainable and interconnected future. On the sidelines of the forum, the opening of a number of new international restaurants in Bahrain will be announced, as well as qualitative partnerships between local, regional and global stakeholders, which will contribute to the development of the sector and enhance Bahrain's position.
I want to congratulate Bahrain, Middle East and UN Tourism organizing Global Gastronomy Forum, first time ever in Middle East. I think it's a big step to promote local gastronomy first of all. Unfortunately, Bahraini culinary arts and gastronomy is not as well known in the world, and this is, I think, historical day because you have excellent, I would say, very different and authentic and unique gastronomy, but we need to promote it and everyone to know that this is the country where you can have fantastic lunch, fantastic dinner, fantastic breakfast.
The Kingdom of Bahrain joins the Sultanate of Oman in celebrating its 54th National Day, which falls on November the 18th. Bahrain's celebration of Oman's National Day stems from the friendship and communication between the leaderships and people of the two brotherly countries and the shared keenness to consolidate and support bilateral relations and translate them into joint cooperation at the bilateral and Gulf levels. Relations between the two countries and people have progressed, which stems from the common will to serve bilateral interests and enhance the role of the two countries at the regional and international levels. Bahraini-Omani relations enjoy special care and attention from His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and His Majesty Sultan bin Haytham bin Tariq of Oman in light of the strong historic ties, unity of destiny and purpose. More in this report.
A long history that brought together Bahrain and Oman thousands of years ago, as Bahrain was then known as the ancient civilization of Dilmun, and the ancient civilization of Majan rose in Oman, and the two civilizations had a great impact in shaping the history of the region. Today, Bahrain and Oman stand tall and witness the achievements and gains of civilization and humanity achieved thanks to the visions of the leaders of the two brotherly countries and their determination to complete the march of cooperation, development and giving to achieve the best interests for the people of the two countries. The Bahraini-Omani relations are rooted in history. They grew and developed based on the strong ties of brotherhood, ties of mutual harmony, and strong bonds from geographical location, religion, Arabism, and common culture. With the enlightened and wise visions of Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa and Sultan Qaboos bin Said, the fraternal relations between the two countries have flourished in various historical, political, economic, social, and cultural aspects. In light of the legacy of the two countries' deep and historic fraternal ties, His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq of Oman continue the exceptional approach in the relations between the two brotherly countries and work hard to consolidate and promote them in order to achieve the common interest and benefit both countries and their peoples.
To speak more about the distinguished relations between Bahrain and Oman, we were joined by lecturer in political sciences and international relations, Hissam Jaber, who delivered the following statement.
Thank you to invite me to speak about Bahraini-Omani relations. In the beginning, I would like to congratulate His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq and Omani people by their 54th National Day celebrations. The Bahraini-Omani relations is deeply rooted and rich. It is a unique relation. These relationships go back to ancient times. Dating back century during the Magan and Dilmun civilizations are linked by commercial ties. These two nations have shared strong culture, economic and political ties over the years. With the historical progress, the relations between Bahrain and Oman witnessed more convergence. Diplomatic relations were established between the two countries on 13 June 1979. Since that time, relations between the two countries have been progressing and developing rapidly. The embassy of Bahrain in the Sultanate of Oman was opened on 10 August 1989. And both countries have since worked to strengthen their relations further. In 1992, the Bahraini-Omani Joint Ministerial Committee came to enhance rapprochement of the two countries, which was held on 14 November 2024 in Oman. Through this committee, both countries signed several memoranda of understanding to enhance cooperation. So day after day, the relations between the two countries are getting deeper. The future of relations between Bahrain and Oman promising and is expected to continue flourishing. Both countries have a strong foundation of cooperation and mutual respect, which has been consistently reinforced by our leadership. The relations, which extend to different political, economic, social, and cultural domains, are accorded great attention by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. Overall, the future of Bahraini-Omani relations is bright, with both countries working together to achieve common goals and enhancing their bilateral ties. So we will witness more significant progress in Bahrain-Oman relations. There is a very strong consensus in the relations between Bahrain and Oman in various fields, whether political, economic, or social, which enhances the trajectory and development of these relations, with a significant support from the leadership and the people of the two brotherly countries. As we mentioned before, the relations between both countries is deeply rooted and rich. It is a unique relation.
To mark Oman's 54th National Day, prominent landmarks and buildings across Bahrain were illuminated in the colors of the Omani flag, reflecting the strong bonds between the two nations. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq of Oman is keen to strengthen Oman's foreign relations with brotherly and friendly countries to achieve international cooperation, peace and security. More in this report.
Oman is following a clear line in strengthening foreign relations in its Gulf, regional and global surroundings. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq of Oman continues to spread peace to the peoples of the world. Oman's foreign policy has been keen to strengthen relations of cooperation and friendship with world countries. On the basis of the unity of destiny, Gulf relations have received great attention from the Sultan of Oman, which was reflected in the participation and joint visits of state leaders, in addition to agreements and joint coordination and cooperation councils, which contributed to strengthening the fraternal foundations to launch wider horizons of cooperation. The Sultan of Oman has always affirmed Oman's support for the Arab League, as the support comes through cooperation with the leaders of Arab countries to achieve the goals of the Arab League, improve the lives of citizens, and work to achieve economic integration that serves the aspirations of the Arab peoples. At the level of international relations, Oman's approach emphasizes a number of constants based on peaceful coexistence between nations and peoples, good neighborliness, non-interference in the internal affairs of others, respect for the sovereignty of states and international cooperation in various fields, and Oman clearly affirms its continued role as an active member of the United Nations, respecting its charter in order to achieve international peace and security. The era of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq continues to witness diplomatic achievements that advance the interests and prosperity of peoples.
And to speak more about the bilateral relations, we were joined over the phone from Omani Bahraini Friendship Association President Rudaina Al-Hajriya, who spoke about the long-standing historic relations between Bahrain and Oman.
The relationship between Oman and Bahrain dates back to ancient times and characterized by strong, enduring ties between two peoples and their leadership. The development of those relationships can be summarized as ancient times. Oman and Bahrain were among the ancient civilizations in the Arabian Gulf, with trade and culture connections established thousands of years ago.
His Majesty the Sultan of Oman Haytham bin Tariq patronized the military parade held at the military parade ground on the occasion of the Oman's 54th National Day. Units representing the Omani Royal Army, Omani Royal Air Force, Omani Royal Navy, Omani Royal Guard, Sultan's Special Force, Oman Police and Royal Court Affairs participated in the parade, in addition to joint military music ensembles. Oman is moving confidently towards the future through Oman Vision of 2040, which aims to achieve balanced development in various fields. The Omani Vision is a reflection of the Omani people's hopes and aspirations for a prosperous and sustainable society.